Ashoka Tana. I've got to admit, I don't watch the cartoon. I'm more of a Trekkie than I am a Star Trek or Star Wars fan. I dig Star Wars. It's good stuff, but I haven't followed it as much, I guess, as I should have or could have. So I don't know a lot about this. So going in, I was like, who's that guy? Who's that chick? Don't they see that's an alien? Then I thought about they're all aliens. They just look human. With a lot of them have British accents for some reason. But this series, starring Rosario Dawson, it's got Rosario in it. You know you're gonna watch it. And Ray Stevenson. You know, R.I.P. Ray Stevenson. But this series, I think, falls in between where the empire has fallen and the new thing is starting to come out. And she wasn't in the new movies. So I don't know if she died or she just wasn't active or they just didn't present what she was doing. But she wasn't in the new movies. And this falls in between the old movies, the cartoon, and the new movies. So since she wasn't in the new movies, I just assume she's going to die at some point. She might not. She might not, but I assume she is. But it's not bad. It's not bad. It starts out, because it's a Disney property now, it kind of starts out, it gave me a Star-Lord looking for an Infinity Stone type vibe, because she's going through this kind of a, you know, Indiana Jones type deal, mazes and all that stuff, traps and what have you, to get this sphere, circle, ball. She's trying to get this thing, and it looked a lot like the thing that Star-Lord was trying to get. It's Disney. You know, I'm sure they got enough money, they didn't use the same prop, but it was similar. And when she leaves, just like with Star-Lord, there's some people there waiting for her. So that reminded me a lot of that. It also reminded me of The Fifth Element. When The Fifth Element, at the end of the movie, when they got all those little things and they got to figure out what to put here, sand, wind, water, you know, and everything. And she was surrounded by stuff like that. And she had to figure out how to get each thing to open up and reveal its secrets. I didn't watch the cartoon again, but I'm thinking I should, because this seems interesting. You know, it's part of the Star Wars lore, and it seems good. Rosario Dawson is doing a good job as Tano, at least to me, again, because I didn't watch the cartoon, but she's doing a good job. There's a lot of tension between her and her Padawan, her trainee, that I don't understand, because Rosario Dawson's character isn't a Jedi. She didn't complete her training. So if she's not a Jedi, how is she training someone else to be a Jedi and use the Force? It's like if you worked at McDonald's for 3 days and then they bring you in to train the assistant manager. I'm thinking, but you don't know what you're doing. You know, regardless of how much you learned in those 2 days, man, ain't nobody gonna let you on the grill. You can't flip no fries. You know, you don't know where the lettuce is at. You don't know all of the good stuff. So how are you training somebody to do a job that you yourself never completed the training on how to do? Was she that good that she can train people? I don't know. I would say no, but she's doing it, and she got that robot, which I'm a little skeptical of. Her robot assistant, you know, he's a little shaky. He's done some things that make me take a double look. You know, when she was fighting those guys and the robot just took off, and he came back and said, "Oh, I was hanging out in space." I was like, "Nah, that don't sound right." And then when, you know, she was about to find out information, and he's like, "No, it's gonna blow up," and he just pushed the button and turned it off. I'm like, he's just a robot. Why is he pushing buttons? He shouldn't be pushing no buttons. He's done a lot of things, you know, and maybe he's just plucky and feisty. I'm personally not a fan of neither plucky nor feisty So maybe that's why I'm not digging the robot. But still, I don't trust the robot. I'm having a Mando type thing. I don't trust the robots. But either way, a lot of good stuff is happening. They introduce the Morgan character, who was supposed to be one of these witches that also use the Force, but the way they use the Force, even other Jedi call it magic, jazz fingers, magic. So that brings me back to Marvel again with DC, with Disney, brings me back to Marvel again. Thor tells people that magic for them is just advanced science. They would see it as magic, but it's kind of a mix of both magic and science. But maybe that's what's happening with these Jedi. The Jedi are at a place where they understand the Force, but not at a place where they understand this Force magic. And they still see it as magic, but it's still just the Force. Just a different way of using it, maybe. I don't know. But that would be my thought on it. I kind of like that. They introduced that character. They introduced Shin. I kind of like her because she seems evil, just evil. They got another character. I want to say his name was Merrick. And you're supposed to have a Jedi master and his Padawan. So you got one dude training, one dude learning. That's it, or dudette. Then on the other side, you've got one Sith Lord and one Sith servant, master, disciple. I forget what you call them. But there's only two of them. But there's the guy, Balin. And then there's his apprentice, Shin, boink. And then there's Merrick. Merrick is just hanging around. I'm like, who's that dude? They don't see him? What's he doing there? He ain't supposed to be there. But he uses his lightsaber. It's on both ends. It's got the little circle thing. He holds it, spins around. So I'm like, oh, okay. All right, he's an Inquisitor. He's not just a Jedi. So you've got Jedi. If you go bad and you're a Jedi, you become Sith. If you don't go bad and you don't really like the Jedi still, but you don't become a Sith, then you're like an Inquisitor. You're like a Jedi that falls in between. And then they got the magic users. But then they also introduce animals that can use the Force, the wolves and the sky whales or whatever they're called. So there's a lot of things happening here. And I kind of dig that. But here's my thing. I've been reading comic books since I was a wee lad. Since I was a little kid. Since dinosaurs ruled the earth, man. I've been reading comic books. When they brought the TV shows and the movies, they introduced them like Spider-Man. How many times they gonna kill, Uncle Ben? Batman. How many times his parents gotta die? But there's a point to it. They do that so people who are coming in know what's going on. Oh, Batman's psychotic because his parents died and he couldn't stop it. Spider-Man is protecting the innocent because, he couldn't protect Uncle Ben. I got it. It makes sense. Aquaman, he's doing this because of that. Superman, his parents died. Batman's parents died. Your parents got to die to become a superhero mostly. So it explains stuff in the movies so that you can follow along. So I've got friends who have never read a comic book, have seen the movies, don't understand that there is a clear difference between this and that. And they're always trying to tell me stuff. And I'm like, dog, nah, you're preaching to the choir. That's not right. But they think they know because the movie has given them a path. This show, on the complete other hand, is not giving me a path. It starts out assuming I know Ahsoka Tano. I don't know that chick. She looks cool. I saw her in The Mandalorian, so I guess she's important. But they don't tell me nothing about her. The dynamic between her and her Padawan, I don't really know. It's only got a few episodes. They're not going to be able to get into that. I don't know. This show seems to be a good show. And if I was sitting next to someone who had watched the cartoons and had been following along, Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Blood, all that stuff, if they had been watching that stuff, they could probably say, hey man, that guy is pretending to be with this guy. He's not. He's actually with those guys. He's going to leave riding a wolf. You can tell me that stuff. I wouldn't know that. I'm watching the show thinking, it's interesting. I sure wish I knew what was really going on. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm an outsider looking in. Also, I'm going to give you a little knowledge. Where I come from, they call this putting you up on game. I'm going to give you a little knowledge. When the show starts and they got that forerunner and they're showing all of the pictures of masks, red masks are evil. Darth Vader's mask, red. Good guys are blue. C-3PO, blue. When they're flipping through those, I've noticed, it's like red, blue, red. And then they show Myric's face, the guy that you think is a bad guy, blue. And I'm like, why is his face blue? Was he a good guy that got turned bad? Is he a good guy that's pretending to be bad? Is he a bad guy that's going to become good? He's blue, man. So he's supposed to be good, right? I don't know. I don't follow the show. I need a little help. If you know, tell me in the comments. Let's talk about it. But as far as this show goes, this is just an idea of where the show is at. I'm not picking out any particular episodes. Next week, I'm going to check it out. I'm going to give you my blow-by-blow for the episodes. But right now, this is just my original idea. Looking at the first few episodes, I dig them. I don't understand it completely, but I dig them. And I dig them so much that I would give this show, Ahsoka, 7 bags of popcorn. 7 bags of popcorn. Because that's what I think about that. But more importantly, what do you think about that? Now we had a chance to talk about it. Let's talk again in the comments. Especially tell me if you know about really what's going on. And if you like what we've talked about so far, like, share, and subscribe.
Popcorn passport. Get your popcorn passport.